Francisco Mendes Filho, better known as Chico Mendes, was a Brazilian rubber taper, trade union leader and environmentalist. Born on 15 December 1944 in Chapuri, in the Brazilian state of Acre. He lived 44 years until he was murdered on 22 December 1988 at his home. During his childhood, he was always taught to be a rubber taper, focusing more on extraction techniques instead of basic education, only learning how to read at the age of 19. He was born 1 year prior to the end of a fascist regime in his home country in 1945. However, he would still live most of adulthood living under a military dictatorship that lasted from 1966 until 1985.
His home state is a mostly fully covered by the Amazon rainforest, which is also aligned with the presence of indigenous people living in this region. Both the situation, his strong connection to the rainforest and indigenous people as well as the lack of rights and liberty in his country during his time, combined with the increased attention to global warming that had a very important role in his activism.
His beginnings as an activist in the decades of 1970 and 1980 matches with the peak of the military dictatorship.
In this time, the government planned to occupy aggressively the Amazon region through incentives through other activities such as livestock and real estate, which will need the intensive deforestation hunting not only the rubber extracting jobs, but most importantly, the rural ecosystem of the region.
In spite of all these downsides, the Brazilian government decided to go ahead with their plan, expropriating land and their lives with them, which resulted in a lot of uprisings. So, the population decided to do a type of pacific protest that became known as empate, in which people would protect the trees with their own bodies to stop the logging works. He also created organized actions to defend the indigenous people and to have their lands recognized, creating a trade union called União dos Povos da Floresta, where the objective was to unite the rubber tapers, the indigenous people, the riverside populations, among others, in a single front.
In 1985, he helped to form council, the Conselho Nacional dos Seringueiros, where he gained recognition as a global environmentalist for his efforts. His assassination in 1988 shocked the world and marked a turning point in the fight for the environmental and human rights. His death drew international attention to the violent conflicts in the Amazon and exposed the dangers faced by those defending the rainforest. His work was very important, having influence even to this day, as it sparked global movements for environmental justice, led to stronger protection laws in Brazil, and inspired future generations to continue his struggle. The impact of his loss is still felt, reminding society of the urgent need to protect both nature and those who stand up for it.